feeling the game. It's the opposite, where it's like...
running away as well. Execration would have won that fight, always be thinking forward. They might have gone autopilot, I would say.
So we gotta raise the alertness. Again, they did win through some of those. They won a lot of 2-1s in their career already as a team. And I don't think this one's gonna be different. After a loss, usually they come back so much stronger.
Here's what's important right now, the reset, the mental reset on both teams, SGD Omega and Execration. Let's get into it. It's game 3. SGD Omega, they're going to be on the play, banning out the Terizla, very smart. Execration, respecting the meta, taking out the Harith. What do you think is going to be the strategy going into this for game 3? Let's talk about Execration first. Do you think they're going to let go of the Chakno on Kufra strategy? I think it's high time.
They may go for the Grok this time, if it's not first pick by SGD Omega, because it is a deny pick and it's also a pick that Execution can utilize perfectly well. But outside of that, they should be still taking out the Esmeralda or, snatching it away from SGD Omega. Kufra, it's not a priority, but when it comes up, when there's a good time for it, there's a good slot for it, I think that they will still take it.
Okay. I just thought it was too spelled out, and in game 2, it seems like SGD Omega got it telegraphed. They know exactly where Chakno's going to be. Even without the Diggy, I'm pretty sure even without the Diggy, they would have known. And they took care very well of Toshino on that carry. Here we see Execration banning out the Grok.
Grok out.
It was one or the other, real quick. SGD Omega first pick, what do you think it's going to be?
It's either the Kimi or the X-Borg. I think that it's...
No, Kimi's out.
Sorry.
So it might be the X-Borg.
X-Borg is a big possibility. At the same time, they're still fighting off against Cho. Yeah, there you go.
I like the Cho because it's very flexible.
Esmeralda, though, going to be picked up by Execration. Historically, they've had a great win rate on this one. And I think this is the hero they pick when they just want to go crunch time.
Ensure it. Be safe.
So now the problem is for Execration. Are they going to go for the X-Borg or are they going for the Kufra? Because either way, any of the heroes that they give away to SGD Omega, it's good, but they pick out the Diggy.
Counter the Cho, but again, that leaves SGD Omega a lot of time to think of how they will solve this Diggy and Esmeralda combo.
Right now, actually, I feel like the Diggy in the last game was overkill, to be honest. It was basically all against a Kufra, but it did serve its role as a displacement hero. So this time around, it does make more sense as well.
I think that Execration kind of felt that it is the answer to Chakno, not because of the heroes that he plays, but because of his playstyle. Because I kind of feel what Chakno was feeling that previous game. He cannot go to the pushes. I think when I play, because I kind of play some Chakno-like type of plays. You know me. When I play, I always go for the zone outs. I always
Grok,
go with the Grok.
Teriz.
And the thing is, if there's a Diggy, that's a big problem. I think Diggy and Selena, they are, and even Nana at a certain point. They're quite a pain
don't laugh at that, that's true.
They're quite a pain in the butt, But just because of the fact that you cannot be, I would say, courageous enough going to the bushes, maybe that's why they picked out a Diggy themselves.
Here's what I'm worried about on that Diggy, and I'm worried good for Execration because it's a very active Diggy. It's not a counter Diggy, what we've seen from previous leagues, and even in the last game where it was used to essentially get rid of that 1 CC that Execration had. Right here, Execration picked it up with a very clear game plan, right? It's going to be a very offensive Diggy, despite that nerf on the auto alarm bomb, stacking much slower. Those time journeys are going to be lethal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's what they play around anyway. The time journey and the time reversal. I feel like it will work well, especially with Bakbet on the Esmeralda. Again, I love playing this guy on the Esmeralda, and I feel like it will work better as long as they can get one more big setup, which is being really heavily denied here by SGD.
They might go for the Akai, or maybe they can go for an offlaner first.
Lolita? You're thinking about Lolita, aren't you? You're about to say it.
I would have,
Lolita
but
on Execration?
Yeah, the big problem we have with it is that it can easily be stopped by knockups.
Yes, that, and there's not much the Lolita's gonna do with this lineup.
Not yet.
SGD.
They didn't pick up their marksman yet.
Marksman or even like a mage with projectiles.
Yeah, it depends on the next pick.
This is a Kagura Granger for SGD Omega. Maybe they're gonna go for Claude.
I would like this. I would love to see that again.
But the
Toshinu's
Toshinu's Granger, it makes so much sense to actually go for the Granger this time, especially because it's against the Thams, it's against the Diggy, and it's against the carry.
and no Kufra. Yeah.
Oh, he's gonna have a good time.
Oh, there's the Akai. I like the Akai much better than the Lolita.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's gonna be very, very 50-50 on this one.
Well,
I would say it's not one side at all in the draft.
Not at all. I like the damage output on the side of SGD though.
Yeah, it really is, and a good setup. They're taking the setup from game 1 and putting it on this draft, and also the big problem here, the big difference maker here is the Diggy for Execration.
The Diggy and the Akai, what a threat when it comes to displacement, and I think that's the way Execration is going to play here. Again, a lot of discipline is going to be needed for this lineup to work. So real quick, before we get into this last game of this series, it's a decision maker. What's your call here? SGD Omega versus Execration.
You wanna start, Brockhart?
Yeah, I want to start. I guess I feel like we have to go for Execration at this one. I feel like they just have a lot more comfort as well. Although they did get denied a lot, they got denied heavily in this game. I got faith in the X Factor, bro.
I think I'm gonna go for SGD Omega in this one on a simple fact that this Esmeralda is not gonna have a... The life of Esmeralda is not as good as the Kagura. Why? Because Phonic Star Moon does not sync with the Akai Ultimate.
That's
They're
true.
getting-
They are counter.
Yeah. Kufra and Cho, they make a lot. They make this Yin Yang overturn so good.
Oh yeah, the Chufra combo.
Easier
Chufra.
execution.
Plus the displacement of Kripsu, so you have to pick your poison.
Yeah.
What do you want? You want the same umbrella or you want the true damage?
Oh yeah.
So again, I think I'll have to double down on SGD Omega as well. I agree with you, Wolf. On screen right now are very lovely Filipino casters, our counterparts on the other desk. Real quick though, if you guys are joining us right now, welcome to the English cast.
Yes.
This is MPL Season 4. It's a second match to be casted once more. This is SGD Omega versus Execration.
Yeah.
It's the decision maker, and we are 2-1. Yeah, Execration for you, Rock
Yeah,
Hard.
I feel like Execution still has that like X factor
Yeah.
that I can't really ignore. Although I do agree that the Kagura is going to have a lot of easier time to set up the crowd control because there's a Kufra and a Cho.
Yeah.
You know what? That's all you could ask for,
Yeah.
and I feel like that's just it's an easy wipeout if they get locked into place.
Here's the thing though. I think I'm gonna side with you with the X Factor side of things. Because Execration, they win games that even though they are losing the drafts, they're still winning it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that even after I said that Esmeralda and Akai's ultimate is not good,
Oh, Syra looking really low here. Kripsu wants blood. He smells it, and he's gonna take it. Down goes a little owl, and Buckbet is gonna try to go for revenge, but it's not gonna work out. He's gonna back out. Even before we introduced our players, they're already going for the kills, and I'm excited to see what the X Factor brings. It's intangible, but I'm excited. I'm still putting that on the table. Real quick, it's game 3. Let's see who's playing who.
SGD Omega on the blue side. This time it's Kenji on the Cho. Heat on this Kufra as they tried to go for Syra this time. That's Gripzo on the
Round
X4. Round number 2. Kartizu with him on the Kagura and Toshino on the left side of the map. That's the Granger.
Again, Execration being beaten quite handily on the bottom side of the map. Buckbet on the Esmeralda, Syra very low on the Diggy, Zapnu on the carry, May on the Fabs, and Chaknu on the Akai.
I wanna say that. Oh,
Oh
man.
my gosh, seriously though.
Oops.
That bottom lane needs to get some holes patched up.
So-
This ship is sinking.
I've played this Esmeralda versus the X-Pork. I think Esmeralda outright loses, especially in the early game. Now that you are playing the side lane Esmeralda, I think that's the worst possible laning for
True.
Execration. Because Esmeralda not only loses onto the side lanes, but also he loses badly against the X-Pork. This time X-Pork is actually on Kripsu. Kripsu is not even a core player.
No.
That's
And
right.
we know that the true damage coming out from the fire, from the first kill of the X-Pork is way too much damage for the Esmeralda. Even the shields will not save.
What's going
Buckbet.
on? They've conceded 3 kills already this early
Oh
on.
my gosh, what's
Buckbet
happening to Exec, man?
taking a lot of damage as well, down bot once more. I was gonna say, Wolf, before we went on that whole tirade about how the bottom is the worst lane right now for Buckbet, it's not too late to switch. You can still switch.
Exactly.
You can still swing.
But they did not.
They did not. They're way too stubborn. And on the third
Oh!
opportunity,
Nice
Esmeralda
steal,
put a nice knock-up in there. Time journey will be used for Execration to actually win this fight. But no, hit on the backlines. He will not be able to get the kill. He is trying to run away. It's going to be the carry to get the kill. And that's, oh, what a jump. The Granger will get the last hit. But what a nice jump from Carl Teasy as they trade 1 for 1.
Yeah, 1-for-1, but Turtle goes over the Execration, so that's really saying something. And they are still ready and poised to go for a tower, probably since they forced SGD to back off completely to the base.
Look at this, triple top boots for SGD Omega. This is your poor man's Oracle against the Esmeralda because of the magic resistance you get. And also, it actually stops a lot of ground control from Execration.
Yep, I really like that this early on, picking up all these tough boots. You know what they say, when the going gets tough, the tough gets tough boots.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
SGD Omega reaping the benefits of the early investment right now. 4-1 sitting. They are just above 200 gold. Can you explain that? What's going on?
I mean, the Execration is already picking up all the creeps so fast because of the help of Zapnu, as well as the clear from May as well.
And check out the mid tower.
Mid tower is down. We all know if you remove that mid tower, it opens up the jungle so easily.
And the turtle as well, but a nice pickup in there with Kenji, again with his Joe. That is going to be a kill.
Oh, Syre looking really dangerous. Even behind his own turret,
right.
he fears for his life.
He
Right.
needs to teleport away. Now, he is going to be the one to actually take care of this Granger up top, which means that the middle lane is going to be on the hands of the Joe this time. And Syre,
Ooh, bottom lane, that's pretty good. Aggression coming from Carl Easy with help from Cripsy on the back line. He knew that the tower aggro was going to get reset after Firaga armor, so he just went for it. Carl Easy, he's not done.
oh yeah, no more time journey available since the Yin Yang overturn. Easy kill for Carl Easy in the turret as well. But up top, there's also going to be a kill. The Granger from the Granger, I mean. And I bet that was Kenji with, by the way, high and dry is there. Wave the dragon.
Oh.
Oh, Purify is going to be used.
It's pretty smart, still being used. A lot of resources coming from SGD just to put May into a bad position, and they are being really played around here.
Oh, they are going to be forcing the issue for sure. Look
Whoa!
at that's a kill. I think so. No, they will not go for the dive. As the members
Seriously?
of Execration are in here.
Here comes the cavalry.
Cavalry.
There is the reverse time on to Heat. He is going to go down against Zapnu. There's a kill for your boy Billy. Toshino looking really low as well.
No.
With
Oh!
the disengage Crimson taking out Zapnu. Down goes Syre as well. It looks like Chaknu's not out for the world. He
Let's
is going to
go.
go down. Chaknu, it's 3-4-1. And SGD Omega win that
And
investment.
no way!
He's going to go follow his allies. It
Fuck
looks like
it.
he's going to go down as
Oh,
well.
the
This
jukes.
team fight
He's
is going on
juking.
for so long.
Does he have it?
He's gonna die.
umbrella.
This is gonna be 3.
Oh, wow.
Save
No
him!
way.
What?
No
He
way.
survived.
Okay, alright, that's a lot of time cueing the hillbilly music. In the end of the day, only 1,000 ahead, SGD.
I think it's the Buckbed challenge.
Buckbed
this time.
challenge this time.
Today.
Crazy.
And as I said, Bakbet plays a mean Esmeralda, even without the help of his teammates, definitely stayed alive there. Alongside May, of course, on the bottom side, getting some gold back for the red
Oh,
side.
wow. Nice defense from Toshino. He will stop the push this time. And now, I think they have access to May this time. The counter Inferno is there, but it's not nearly enough. The true damage procs, and they do have the damage.
The mechanics from a young kid, that is just definitely where you want to see your game. However, of course, it's still going to be a question of whether or not they can recover after Execration gets the turtle buff. That's going to be pretty big, especially going to an Esmeralda.
Oh yeah, I know this. This is recovery indeed. Pakbet needs to get some kills for himself. The Heat is, by the way, the holder of the Kufra this time. So this is a support export, like we said.
Yep.
But he's dealing so much damage against his opponents. He's 3-0 and 5.
Yeah.
8 out of the 11 kills from SGD Omega is on the hands of the export.
It doesn't feel like an 11-2 game, doesn't it?
Yeah. You know, this is why I always feel that in professional matches, I want to put in a big emphasis on that. Support export works.
It does. Tank export, support export. A big difference from my usual export build, you know.
And Tough boots into the Bloodlust Axe. I think he does have the right to get the Bloodlust Axe because of how much he got from the early game. I would
Right.
say. And look at this.
Oh, last is
Oh, the
Syre.
flicker.
Kill confirmed.
Kill confirmed.
That
There's
was,
still a jump. They still want to go for this one. They catch up nobody, but they still took out the buff, I would say.
they are still being pushed around heavily on the map. Zapnu not showing his face at all. I like that. They're keeping some gold into the pockets of our marksman player.
That's smart.
But again, he's not getting as much as the SGD Omega roster, who is getting kills on the map.
Kenji
Getting
here.
hurt on the bottom lane. They're chasing Kenji this time, but I think they will not be able to catch him even after the sprint from Chakno. Run away.
very questionable plays around the map for SGD. Maybe they're giving away a little too much, being a little complacent. Nonetheless, they are still pushing on the top. They can still take a fight if they want to, but Execration, they have different plans. We're out of here, guys.
Oh, they're out of there. So SGD Omega, they do have a lot of initiations in them, but their chase potential is not that good
At all.
at all. Because you know that after they jump in, they don't have the second jump. Well, they might have to pick up courtesy of Kenji, but they cannot chase Execution when Execution is already out and about.
Yeah.
I love it. Chakno here threatening.
Look at Carl Tizzy.
Carl Tizzy needs to get out of there. Here
Oh,
we go, Chakno.
no.
Did not go for the fight. Here's
Bakbet.
the falling star moon. Bakbet is seeing a lot of damage here. Kripsu with the last insanity. Chakno gonna be really low. He's taken out by Saire. Over to the left side of the map. It looks like Bakbet is gonna go down, but instead
Oh,
he's still
no!
sparing blood.
He's
You
still
watch
alive!
Carl Tizzy. It's 2 for none currently, and Execration won that exchange.
What did this guy eat for breakfast? He got immortality soup, my friends. Man, they are getting a lot of close calls, but no one's actually going down. Zapdu's still very healthy on the board, can get the Lord quite fast.
Tizzy did not respect the firepower of Execution. They tried to go for the push to the Kenji. They're trying to defend or contest this Lord, but I don't think that they can. There's a lot of firepower from Execution. Still, but though, they take out the taps. So there again, that's to secure the Lord this time, and it will be taken by the Esmeralda. At the very least, Execution will lose one hero, but in expense, they will go get the Lord.
Do you see what Execration is doing here? They're completely avoiding the kill fights, and they're going straight for the objectives, always sacrificing someone to make a trade.
And I think it's worth it. It's paying off for them. They're still very much on the map despite the 9-kill deficit. And that's smart, right? In a professional league, we keep talking about conversion rates.
Yeah.
And they're converting these losing skirmishes into objectives on the map. And that's as smart as it can get for a team who's down on kills, but a farmed up marksman, just like Zapdo.
Although the gold is a big difference. I mean, they're getting a lot of conversions, but the gold is still on the side of SGD.
It's 2,000.
That is interesting to say, because I think at the times when Execution was grouping up, the members of SGD Omega are making the most out of the map. Look at this, Tizzy doing so much damage. Or is it just because of the fact that Execution's lineup in terms of force are very squishy?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's a big problem. Again, engagement. The problem with Tank Xborg is his HP disappears really quickly. I mean, right now, though, he wants to go for the engagement. Siren knocked up. Wave of Dragon into a Tyrant's Rage. That's a big explosion. Crypto takes 1. Can he get more? Zapdu still pretty much on the back line, doing a free damage. Gets burned out by the Yin Yang overturn.
Oh wow, that's a good engage. Now they want to go for more. The Wave of Dragon connects and the Esmeralda goes down free on the side of Execution will fall. And I think that SGD Omega, they took the fight. That's much better. Execution, they tried to go for Chakno on the Hurricane Dance for the backlines, but he did not reach anyone that's actually dealing the damage.
The X Factor becoming a question mark, a why.
Okay.
What is happening here to Chakno, man?
So here's what's interesting, right? SGD Omega won that team fight, but all they can do is turn that into a defensive streak. All they did was clear the waves.
That's true. Again, that was because of a Lord wave coming up.
And I want to say that SGD Omega are very smart in terms of forcing that fight because they know that the time's journey is already out.
Yeah.
And they know that they can have the hold against the carry in Esmeralda. I always say that Esmeralda and carry, they are very sustainable heroes because of their lifesteal and their regen. But once they are stunned, they cannot get away from
They're
it.
good as long as they can keep moving.
Exactly. But the moment that they don't, that they can't, they will fall.
That's a big problem here again. SGD, they're still on putting Execration on the ropes here. And right now, Execration, they just keep trying to keep Zapdo alive for the meantime, as long as well as Bakbet, who is 0-3-4 on the Esmeralda, although he does have Feather of Heaven now. That might make things run a little differently. Wow, that's a small bump. All right, there you go. That's better.
Interestingly enough, the gold lead has just exponentially grown. Earlier it was just 2,000, now it's at 4. So Execration here, definitely now on the backswing. Let's see, can SGD Omega capitalize? And here we are once more. Chakno doing the thing he does, waiting for the perfect hurricane.
That's 3 guys. What happened? What?
He didn't click it. He
didn't
didn't do it.
click it.
He did not.
Oh, hesitation, my friends. Hesitation at a high level.
Well, they did not have their Esmeralda. That's probably why they did
That's a
not
good
fight.
point. That's a good point. He was really far off. He was near the base.
Yeah.
Again, that's a big question mark. At the same time, though, Execration, they're starting to lose up on the opportunities. Again, opportunities are starting to become really thin here, really rare. for the Execration lineup, and they better capitalize on, or else they might lose out completely.
They are slowly losing the map control, and we are seeing that in terms of, you know, SGD Omega are controlling their side of the map and some of the parts of Execration's map, particularly the jungle. And I think that SGD Omega, this is why they're keeping their gold lead even after losing the Lord or, you know, having a tower turret deficit. And also there's a split pushing Kenji.
So right now it's going to be waiting on the Lord. They're waiting and seeing who can go into position first. Chakno, he's trying to make his case, but he's just slapping it and saying, "Where are you going? No, not here, not here." You know?
Those two tanks can slap each other all day long, nobody will die.
Yeah, for real. Right now, though, the position definitely favoring SGD. Time reversal on the Crimson kind of slows him down, but everyone else is just hesitant to go into a bush, get in the position, and they're waiting for your one guy to make a mistake because right now, bottom lane Kenji going for the split.
Kenji might be the one to commit this mistake. They really need Kenji in this fight for
They
sure.
do.
And he disengages, he is going to go join the fight, I believe.
There you go, full disengage.
Yeah, Execration here pretty scrambled through. I think both teams are just weighing their decisions.
Yeah.
Neither wants to really go for Lord, but neither really willing to let go of the waves.
And strap in for a long game, guys, because they're waiting for other guy to make a mistake and no one is willing to make a move.
Who's going to win this fight? I think Dams might win this battle, but Kenji smartly will
He knows.
For that one.
Yeah, he knows what you know, that he's not going to be able to
Oh,
take that. Whoa, that was fast!
Wow!
What the heck?
Sneaky, like a thief in the night, SGD Omega.
Wow.
We just blink for like a good 2
I
seconds.
did not finish my sentence.
Yeah, we just went on the bottom lane, and right now the fight is happening on the top.
Toshido going down.
Oh,
Zapno
man.
responsible for that. Immortality's all around now. And here's round 2. Mei and Kenji going 1v1. And it looks like Mei is going to win that fight. Kenji
though,
walking away.
Actually, he preserved the way of the dragon, and the counter Inferno is already down for the count. So I think that even when Kenji was the one fended off, I think Kenji still won that trade.
Yeah, I think they did very,
long
very
run.
heavily.
Yeah.
Because right now, SGD, they have the Lord, but they don't have people to defend. 4 against 5 against very, very scary Execration comp. They are now on the back foot. He's caught in no man's land right now.
Times journey is available though, and it will be used. But Execration can take out on this one. I think it's GD Omega. They forced out the time journey and the counter at Inferno.
Mei! Oh, that's a
there's
big
still
problem.
another
Conrad is low back up, and he's going to be able to make a run for it with the help of the Mountain side, but Carl Teasy has different plans.
And there's no more time journey now. In comes Kenji, who's he gonna pick off? Oh, but there is gonna be a counter. The Purify, the Hurricane Dust is gonna be there. But Zapnu is far too low. He explodes, and they will take out the second one. Zapnu is very low this time, being chased down by Crypto. Zapnu gets a kill, but he will fall to the bullets of Toshido, who's just arrived this time. Cartesi, out! What the way!
The yin yang overturn of the game right there. Cleaning up Macbeth. There goes the offensive options of Execration. There goes that tower. And will it be the base next?
It is the base. Time Journey can't do anything for this one. And Execration will fall. And SGD Omega to get game 3 to take the series overall.
Ladies and gentlemen, SGD Omega is on a roll. I could have sworn that Execration got this, especially after that swing. But as it goes, all you need is that one team fight to go wrong.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened.
There's a lot of, I would say, tendencies for the team fight to actually go wrong for Execration. We did mention that in the draft. The nature of how Esmeralda and Akai works, it's very situational. You have to have the perfect terrain for you to actually land the combo. But on the side of SGD Omega, they can literally start with any type of combo.
It's a nombo, right?
It's a
nombo.
It nulls itself. It is pretty janky. Of course, it could work if it really, if the stars align. But this time it did not.
Yeah.
It was more of a falling star.
Just a falling star.
That's it. You could
Right.
wish, but then it never really pulled through. So, ladies and gentlemen, very hard-fought match for these two teams. Quality Mobile Legends, as we expected. 2-1. It's SGD, and this just confirms them into the playoffs. How far does this run them up through the top bracket?
Oh, not that much.
Not
though.
that much,
Yeah,
I would say.
I would say.
But between the two of them, if you think about their chance at getting, or taking down the other one, like for
Right.
example, because SGD Omega won this against Execration, they might be the ones to go to the upper bracket instead of Execration if they do meet in the middle. But, I think that for both teams, Execration might still secure their upper bracket, and SGD Omega, they're quite far off. I think they are, oh no, they're not. They're at 5-2? Or 5?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, you're at 5-3.
5-3. They're
Yeah.
at 5-3.
I'm pretty sure the numbers would add up, but ladies and gentlemen, again, watch out for Toshino, and of course, never forget Carl Tizzy, child prodigy once, now someone to watch out for.
Yeah, he's more of a big
crazy.
brother now at this point for Toshino.
Yeah, one of the mages to look up to in the league. Once more, I think we are going to be showing you guys who the MVP of this game was. Of course, it
That
was
was very
game
close,
3.
man.
Who would you say it is for you?
Obviously that's going to be Carl Tizzy for me because again, it's so easy to execute the Esmeralda. Kagura at this point. Like we did mention, even before the game started, a lot of that is going to be seen here on the replays as well.
Oh yeah, I think that it's a hard choice between Cryptzu this time and Cartesi.
Crypto did so well.
Cryptzu did so well, but you might give it to Cartesi just because of the fact that Cryptzu just had the better hero.
Yeah.
Like the export, having the export actually.
Just raw numbers, export's awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome. But overall, Cartesi's command of the Kagura is actually top notch.
Top notch.
And between that and the way that Kenji and Toshino played, they just played Mobile Legends, right? They just played Mobile Legends.
Basic, very basic.
Heath as well, role players, these guys are, but well-fought match that was by no means a stomp or a quick one. And yeah, Execration here showed a little bit more discipline. They did not really overextend. They made very questionable rotations, but it really wasn't a mistake on their part. It's just SGD Omega knew where to strike.
Exactly. I think that is the way to sum it up, right? For exactly this highlight where they fought when Execration didn't have the time's journey.
Yeah.
I think that was, SGD Omega taking advantage of what they have versus what Execration does not have.
And again, it's those little moments where you decide to pick a fight with no intentions of winning. With no intentions of winning.
That's a bit mean, though.
Yeah.
No, but that's what won them, right?
That was one. And specifically in that kill from Toshino, he just literally arrived to use the last bullet
Of the Sonata.
the Sonata
Right.
to take out
Yeah.
Zapdo.
The last note.
Last
That was the me. The do,
The
re,
last
mi.
note.
Ding! Again, ladies and gentlemen,
It's Carl Tizzy.
picture
Alright.
perfect. Carl Tizzy with the finish on this Kagura. By all means, we advise you to use this build. Check it out. Went
Yeah.
9-1-4. Nothing wrong with this, especially if you're good with Kagura anyways.
Yeah, because to be honest, I don't see Kagura a lot in high-level play
Yeah.
anymore. We should change that.
We
We
should
should have a lot more players training to be good Kagura players.
Yeah.
And I think Carl Tizzy showed you that if you are one, you gotta go places, my friend.
And like I said, this is a much better Kagura game compared to the other games because I think that the draft of SGD Omega, they're just setting up for the Kagura to be really good. On top of the fact that Cartesi actually played it well. So it's a combination of both. And we saw how good a hero can be even when it's not highly picked in the meta. If the conditions are right, the hero will rise.
As well, and let this be a reminder for you guys to watch out for your nombos. Think of how your
Whoa.
heroes, ultimates, and kits interact with each other because it's going to go a long way. I mean, sure, Execration almost had it, but I'm pretty sure there were moments wherein they wished that the Hurricane Dance was something else,
Yes.
or that the Falling Star Moon was something else. It was one or the other. Maybe they were hoping it was an order at that point, or even maybe an incandescence. But ladies and gentlemen, it is what it is, and this is the score we have. 2-1. Once again, as a quick recap, going to SGD Omega. Congratulations. Real quick before we call a break, any last thoughts before we go ahead?
I feel like SGD definitely showed that they're ready to go into the playoffs. Upper bracket, we don't care who you are, we're gonna go.
And I agree. And I think that their next matchup is going to be Signal Ultra. That's going to be next week. And sadly for Signal Ultra, that is a must win.
Must win.
My gosh.
2-0 or just even 2-1?
Even to one must win.
Must win, and then even that is just a chance.
That is especially after seeing SGD Omega perform against Execration. Oh, Signal Ultra is going to be shaking.
They
are.
need to really evolve, and they have a week to do that. Ladies and gentlemen, let me just remind you, this is the second to the last weekend of the MPL regular season. You've been watching us. Thank you very much for being on this journey with us. It has been a pleasure. On behalf of our caster's desk, my name is Leo, joined by the very, very lovely Rockhart, and of course, Wolf. Don't go anywhere, we'll be right back.
The dance of the swans is so graceful and charming.
for free. Mobile Legends Bang Bang. Experience the youth suck. Look inside.
Legendary! 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 Double kill! Triple kill!
Download for free. Mobile Legends Bang Bang.
Killing spree! Godlike! Double kill! Triple kill! Shut down! The southern seas are my domain.
back to the show, MPL Season 4. My name is Wolf, I'm with Nomad and Wonder Bear. Here in the stream for our MPL. Now, we're down to our second to the last series. For today, it's Sunsparks vs Bren eSports. I want to ask first, what are your expectations for this series?
Well, if you're going to ask me about my expectations for this series, it's kind of slowly looking like an El Clasico in terms of, well, Sunsparks was former No Limit, and back then, during Season 3, No Limit, Bren was afraid of No Limit, No Limit even during their scrim matches. I feel like it may be the same case here, that Sunsparks may once again come out on top of Bren eSports.
Yeah. I want to ask Wonder Drifter. Wonder Drifter, you've been taking a lot of notes for both these teams. What can you say about this specific matchup so far?
Well, I'm actually excited to see this specific matchup because I know what Sunsparks is capable of doing. Like they love to, engage in AoE fashion, like, bring in the barrage anytime. But Bren eSports is a very smart and very intelligent team.
Yeah.
Like, sure, you may be able to, bring in the firepower, but they can respond very well.
Now let us dissect what you've just said. These teams, they are quite strong in their own, teams, in their own regard, I would say. Sunsparks, they have not been performing well in the previous season, but because of some changes in their lineup, now they are, technically speaking, en route to being the top one in the score sheet. Just because of the fact that they defeated the top one, which is ONIC. And Sunsparks, they are a very scary team to watch out for, specifically because they won against the top dogs. There's a lot of mechanical skill in this team, but there's also big terms of drafting. I want to ask now, what do you think about Sunsparks? Let's start with your Nomad.
Well, what I think about Sunsparks is that their current lineup right now is technically the same as to what they're drafting during Season 3, but they just improved upon how they're playing their characters. I mean, let's just skip for one example. We got Keo VJ on that Thumbs.
Okay.
Can never go wrong with him, but he improved his rotations better than what he did during Season 3. And I feel like the rest of Sunsparks have also, they also improved by the way they play the game in general.
How about you, Wonder? You've taken a lot of notes, like I said. What can you say about Sunsparks specifically?
Yeah, you did mention about KLVJ, about his rotations. It's actually very on point. Like, sure, it's actually a decisive factor for the side of Sunsparks, but they don't just rely on KLVJ. Like, Fazakin as well and Rafflesia, these two actually complement the trio. Like, these three, KLVJ, Rafflesia, and Fazakin, this is a very dangerous trio because of the fact that their zonal presence is oftentimes an intimidating force against the opposition.
Yeah, would you think that this is the recipe for success for Sunsparks so far, or is there something else? Because I feel like, yes, it's the way that they are so flexible, and the way they are ganking so well with Fuzaken, with Rafflesia, as well as KLVJ. But is there something else that we should be looking towards Sunsparks and why they are winning these matches?
I guess it's not about the game, in the game per se, but I feel like they finally got the confidence they need going into this series. That's going into the season. That's why they're suddenly the top two teams here.
Yeah.
One of the top two teams in the current season.
Oh, how about you, Wonder Drift?
Well, the playstyle of Sunsparks, I really like it. The fact that they have this dynamic trio, which for me is like the bravest trio of them all. Like, because of the fact that they all love to jump in any time of the fight.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty about them. Like, they all jump in at some points just so that the opposition will eventually succumb to it and they'll be forced to go in an awkward situation, in an awkward team fight. And that's their biggest strength. I feel like if they play to their strengths, that it could actually work out for them.
Let's actually talk about the strongest point in Sunsparks, specifically this season, when they were able to win against ONIC VH. Let us kind of rewind a bit last week, when they were able to overcome the top dogs of the tournament so far, ONIC VH. Not only that, ONIC VH, they've shown this different meta of 5 mask strategy, which was a very strong type of, strategy by itself. But they defeated it. They've adjusted within a snap, in-game itself. And that is, to me, very scary. But for you, what was the secret of Sunsparks? How did they actually win against ONIC VH?
Well, if you're talking about last week, I honestly feel that it was because they just had the better draft. We were looking at the draft of ONIC VH, and they were rolling with 2 mages. On the flip side, Sunsparks had a mage and a marksman. What happened there is that ONIC VH relied heavily on having the mages online that they forgot that, hey, we need sustained DPS in every team fight. That's where Granger came in during game number 1. That's where Carry came in during the game number 2 and completely changed the landscape because they were waiting for the item spike, but it just wasn't there yet.
How about you, Wonder Good? What's
Yeah.
the secret for Sunsparks?
Yeah, I agree with you about the draft because if you look at ONIC strategy, the mass strategy only works if if you can outdraft your opponent and if you can carry on with that early momentum. Sunsparks, they had the momentum at the early game. Like sure, ONIC was aggressive, but Sunsparks was likewise aggressive and they were able to get kills. And add the fact that yes, the side of Sunsparks, they have the Kufra, which negates like most of the engagement options on ONIC. And that's also, other than the fact that the over-reliance on the strategy on the side of ONIC is their biggest flaw, their other main weakness is the fact that if they get forced into the team fight, they will lose. Like because they're so coordinated, they solely rely a lot on counter-attacking. That Sunsparks actually capitalized on it.
I want to pick up what you said. You mentioned that they cannot be forced into fights as often. And that's exactly what Sunsparks did. And I'm not only saying this because of observation. I actually asked the team from Sunsparks, did you actually win the fights, the game specifically because you forced the fights? And they said yes, it is the correct answer. This is what I'm getting at. Sunsparks is a very scary team because they can adjust in game itself. And that to me is something that we haven't seen in other teams yet. Sunsparks, the way that they are top with Raplesha, with Funsakan, with LVJ, Regio, JP, and SQFlex was because they can study the game in itself and then adjust to it. And that is, to me, very scary.
Yeah, I completely agree with that because if you have the capability to change the game plan in the snap of a finger, you will win almost all of the fights 9 times out of 10.
Yeah. And now we are seeing the members of Sunsparks. Very cheerful for sure. I think they're here in a very comfortable spot. If we compare them to teams like, for example, Archangel, like Ownage or Signal Ultra, you will never see them smiling. But this team, they're quite confident with what they have. They are at the top. They might have even secured their upper bracket berth, I would say, even though it's not yet the last week, you know?
Yeah, I mean, of course, if you're at the, if you feel like you've secured a playoff spot already, maybe this could be like the perfect time for Sunsparks to experiment. And I can actually see it from them, like, because we all know what Sunsparks is capable of doing, like on this Fuzaken, like LVJ, this trio.
Yeah.
They will certainly have to, like, do some random study, like, okay, maybe let's try, to give the ball game to someone else, like JP or Renzio. Maybe they could pick up the slack.
Now, the question is, they're going to be playing up against Bren eSports. Bren eSports, not exactly the team that they were before, not exactly the dominant team that they were before. They're actually struggling right now. But I think that win over Archangel, previously, that was yesterday, a 2-0 victory in fact, that was a big confidence boost for business. What do you say about Bren?
That was a really big confidence boost because right now we are seeing the top dogs in the bottom end of the barrel. And now that they were able to secure a victory against Archangel, it kind of bumped their score up a bit more into the leaderboards. We might still have a chance to see them in the upper brackets, but that's going to depend if they're going to be having a good run going into next week.
Yeah. How about you, Wonder Girl? What can you say as of now about Bren eSports?
Yep. Okay. Speaking of Bren eSports, here we have Doc, Rebo, Yuji, Hayes, Coco, EJ, and Teng. And I have to say, I love Coco's improvement. Like Coco, used to be one of the most flack players because Bren eSports, they solely rely on Yuji, and Coco cannot pick up the slack. But in yesterday's game against Archangel, he has shown that he could actually deliver because it was his blazing duet at the very start that actually sparked the comeback for the side of Bren eSports against Archangel.
When you look at Bren eSports, specifically if you look back a few series before, MPL Season 1 and Season 2, you know that Bren eSports, they're that team that they know their matchups very well. I think that Coco, most especially, he knows his marksman matchups, and he knows that when he can win and when he cannot win against his opponents. I think the Kimi versus the Claude is just a straight up Claude favorite, I would say, specifically with jump with the BMI, and he always capitalized with that one. I can fairly remember yesterday, there was a fight where the Claude was actually minding his own business, and then all of a sudden when Kimi came, instantly pops the BMI into the ultimate, the blazing duet, because he knows that he's the win condition against Kimi, and that to me is also a trait that Bren eSports always have had against their opponents. How about you, Nomad? What do you think about the specific gameplay, the playstyles of Bren eSports? What are they actually good at?
Well, we've been talking about this for the longest time now. Bren eSports know how to rotate, and when they rotate as a whole unit. We've seen some plays where Bren eSports finally decided to go, hey, 3 guys start pushing on the top side, 2 guys just do whatever you want, farm up, whatever. And it can still be the same case here for Bren eSports. They can still be that team that knows how to rotate, out-rotate their opponent.
Oh, people are actually clamoring in here. In our stadium, it's going to be Primo versus Raflesha. Not really the outright, I would say, lane matchup sometimes, but we do know that Primo himself plays a little bit of support sometimes when he's assigned to Raflesha as well. I think Raflesha is known as the tank, but now he's transferred on the off-lane role, I would say. So there will be a chance for Primo to go up against Raflesha on that regard. But I think that we should not be looking on them alone. Who do you think should we look towards in terms of this matchup? Bren eSports versus Sunsparks. Let's start with you, Drift. What do you say?
It's actually very tricky to answer because each of these members have like a specific role, like a huge role for the team.
Yeah.
I mean,
how about Hayes and Fuzakin?
That's
how
actually that's actually a very good matchup. I mean, Fuzakin, obviously one of the best initiators here for MPL Season 4. He's actually one of the best babysitters that can actually transition to being one of the best counter initiators for the side of Bren eSports. So it's also a very interesting matchup to see these 2 like tanks that could actually clash. But you have to give props to Hayes because Hayes has one thing that actually makes him above Fuzakin, and that's his ability to adjust to multiple roles. Like Hayes cannot just only play tank, he can also play support. Even at some points when needed, he could be a primary damage dealer for Bren.
How about you, Nomad? Is there anything else you want to look at in terms of specific players?
I kind of want to look at the supports here this time around because that has been the highlight that we've been having for the past couple of weeks. If somebody's going to be able to live up to Oh My Venus's stand as one of the first, I think it's pretty sure that he was the first MVP as a support player.
Yeah, I think
like
so.
Like a pure support player.
Yeah.
But, you know, if anything, it might be we might watch out for Raflesha.
Oh, yeah.
Or we might watch out for Yuji or Hayes.
Oh, definitely. I think that we have not been talking about Yuji long enough for the whole of MPL Season 4. I think Yuji is still Mr. Consistent. I think he's still Mr. KDA of the team. Yuji is quite quiet.
Yeah,
so far.
A quiet attitude always brings about the best in people, and we do see him. We're seeing him right now. He's just chill while the rest of the team are just laughing about serious faces. But
chill.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Yuji has been like the X factor for Bren eSports. Like most of the time, he's the primary clutch player for Bren eSports. But it's actually very good that Bren isn't like solely relying on him. Like Hayes has actually shown some signs, and then Tang has likewise been like a potential difference maker in the late game. And Rebo actually doing a pretty good job, like commanding the strings for this Bren team.
There was a time where EJ actually played for Bren eSports. That was particularly yesterday. And it's something interesting. EJ is always trying to improve himself. That's what I actually was able to ask Mitch, the coach. And she commended, I mean, particularly EJ, who is trying to improve himself day after day. And I think that the games yesterday, specifically on this Thursday, if I'm not mistaken, was playing so well. And I think that we have not been talking about EJ. When you ask other players, they actually put a lot of respect onto EJ. He might be the soft player, you know, the 5th to 6th man for the longest time for Bren eSports. It's actually really good. Like you say about EJ, can he still be the one that, you know, this team should be relying on? Really quickly, Nomad.
Well, he did show up during Season 3 when Payne was decided to be, hey, I'm not playing, EJ's going to play.
Oh.
And he did show up. And if anything, this might be the time for EJ to shine.
Well, now that we have the draft, however, let's actually talk about heroes this time. It's going to be the Kufra and Esmeralda ban for Sunsparks. Export, I mean, for Bren eSports. Are they going to ban something like a Terizla this time? Or would you think of something else?
Yeah, Terizla would actually be a very smart ban, knowing that he's actually a pretty powerful hero nowadays. But I'm also feeling that Bren could actually ban the Akai because it's also one of Sunsparks' specialty heroes. And I'm surprised that Sunsparks banned the Kufra and the Esmeralda because these are like 2 of their major benefactor heroes in every fight.
Hyrid is going to be an instant pick for Sunsparks this time, I would say.
Yep.
the Kufra is banned already, and the Esmeralda.
You can't go wrong with a Harith. Will be able to Chrono Dash
Yeah.
all across the map, no problems.
And it's specifically because the Esmeralda kind of answers the Harith because of the shield absorption. I think the Harith is such an easy pick here for Sunsparks. There's no way that Bren eSports can counter this unless, of course, they go for something like a Kaja or maybe another Cho, perhaps.
Yeah, Kaja actually makes a lot of sense for Sunsparks. Like, it actually bodes well with Harith.
Oh, that's also true. That is
Yeah.
also true.
I mean, combined with Gushon, if you want to have like a double mage and then a little bit of assassin setup for Sunsparks.
It's gonna be the Cho and the Grok. What can you say, Nomad, so far of the opening picks for Bren eSports?
This is kind of like the El Clasico Bren eSports clutch picks.
That's
They're
also
going to go
true.
for
Yep.
Grok, go for Cho, play it safe. That's the first two picks that they're always going to go for
Yeah.
if they want to play the game safe. That's what I read here. If anything, they got the Grok. They should be able to pick up, I don't know, potentially a Claude, not a Claude, I mean a Gushan to help with going into the invades in the jungle with a Grok. Cho's going to be there to at least try to get Harith away from the Zaman Force so that he won't be able to do a lot of damage with the Wave of the Dragon.
This is scary, however. The penalty zone into the Zaman Force, that's so much damage potential, so much teamfight potential as well from Sunsparks. They will close the first phase with the carry pick, which is directly the answer to the Grok. Might have some troubles against the Cho in terms of the fights, but of course, if he uses Purify, might be well and good for him. What do you think is the closing pick for Bren eSports on the first phase?
Okay, so you got the Grok, you got the Cho. Granger is actually a very viable option now because, one, you need the long distance. Like Terizla is very beefy and tanky, but if you look at the playstyle of Sunsparks where they like to zone out targets, you want that one hero that could actually be potentially useful in case like your other teammates are zoned out, which is none other than Granger. As long as he doesn't get caught, that's actually a pretty viable option for Bren.
The thing with Granger is, and other types of burst heroes, there's a big chunk of damage that he can deal, and I think that's the answer to something like Terizla. Because the thing with Terizla is, the lower the health, the more resistance.
Yes.
But if you already punch through with just one proc of that resistance before it gets low, with immense amount of damage, you will have the chance to take down the Terizla. I think that will be the answer from the Granger.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. If anything, the bans that we have to see from Bren eSports here is to dwindle down the tank potential that Sunsparks can get, so that they're just going to have to rely on Terizla. Akai is going to be banned up. Who are the only
Not
available
surprising.
tanks that you can go for? You can go
Exactly.
for a Minotaur to synergize with Terizla's penalty zone, or a Franco, but that's not going to be a wise choice.
Yeah, and I think it's an easy dig pick for Bren eSports if that happens. And they are actually setting up for that. They will pick their offlane first. Or maybe this is also support Tams. We don't know for sure. We've seen position 4 Tams for Edit before, and it works. Sunsparks, they don't have the right to go for the Minotaur this time. I think they might go for Lolita instead.
Yeah, it's actually, I'm not sure if Lolita or Minotaur would be like something that Sunsparks would pick, because it's not part of their playstyle, because they oftentimes like to jump in and then just boom, just like, make an impact immediately in the team fight. So Lolita, they can try it out, but it could actually ruin their playstyle. But if they're gonna do it, they have to be very cautious. Like, they're gonna wait for Terizla to jump in together with Harith, and then that's where Lolita's gonna jump in.
I kind of like the Lolita and Kaja pick, to be
Oh, yeah.
completely honest. That's going to single out Granger. If
Yeah.
if you can't catch him with the Numenon Blast, there's always a penalty zone, and there's always a Divine Judgment. And
Yeah.
that's someone that you have to shut down early on.
Yeah, that's the way I brought up the Lolita, because it's the direct answer to this Granger. And there's this, little bit of feature where you can actually use the Bulwark to counter the Guardian's Barrier. It actually works that way, that if you cast the Guardian's Barrier on a Lolita that's already up with the Bulwark, your Guardian's Barrier will be used, it will cool down, but the barrier itself will not appear.
That's interesting.
That is
That
actually
is very interesting.
That's actually nifty. I've seen that so much.
Why have I not been doing that? That's
Wow.
the question.
Because who would actually block Guardian's Barrier, and who would have thought? But in many occasions, you'll be happy to have that feature. Okay.
Yep. That
Yeah.
looks like it is.
It is what it is. But seeing as the draft have developed, I want to ask you guys your predictions. If you don't want your predictions, which I think that you should be doing, I'm on to you guys. You have to predict. don't chicken out with this one. But yeah, what are your predictions of the series? If not, what are the win conditions at least?
I'm gonna straight up go for the prediction here.
Oh, there you go.
I'm gonna go for a Sunspark 2-1.
Oh,
For-
wait.
for
the
entire
series?
The
series.
series already?
I'm already calling it.
Somebody's on fire.
I'm already calling it.
All right, but in this specific
In
game,
this specific game, it looks like it's gonna be a Sunspark game.
Sunspark game. How about you, Wondergrift?
Okay, I am going to go for the win condition. Just kidding. No. Okay, I'll
Okay.
pick
Safe.
prediction. Okay, I'll pick Sunsparks here in game number 1.
Well. Very quickly. Now let's actually introduce our players. Sunsparks on the blue side this time. Reflesha on to the Lolita. It's Kuzakai on the Kaja. JP on the carry. It's going to be Redzio on this Terizla and KelVJ on the Harry.
And on the side of Bren eSports, we got Yuji on that Karagura, EJ on that Grok, Coco on that Thams, Hayes on that Cho, Doc Rebo on that Granger.
Yep, and see these two offlaners, Coco and Renzio, going to be laning up against each other. But of course, Renzio has like the burst damage. But so far, Coco is actually showing he can actually survive against Renzio here in the top lane.
Oh, the
Oh.
HPs are actually dangerously low.
He's not going to die though. Because that's the thing with Terizla. However, the big problem that this actually happens is that he has to back down. Now, Reflesha does have the... no, it's Doc Rebo. Doc Rebo gets it.
Oh, okay.
That's not good at all from Sunsparks.
Yeah, you don't want to give Doc Rebo Granger a lot of money in the early game, because as soon as he builds his first core item, no matter if it's going to be an endless battle, if it's going to be a Demon Hunter sword, it's just going to be painful for the rest of Sunsparks.
KelVJ actually snatching this scrap coin up top, and now they will try to chase level. KelVJ is already level 4.
Yeah, but
And-
Zyken's still level 3, so I don't think they should push it. I mean, without the Divine Judgment, yeah, just hold it off for a while.
So you have to take note that Redzi actually opted for the wooden mask. That is the greedier path for offlaners nowadays. And if you don't leave your lane, you're actually having so much damage. But this time, we'll use the Zaman Force to deal so much damage onto the turret.
Yep, here you go. Zyken trying to tickle onto the members of Bren eSports, but Yuji and EJ are just going to, well, nothing really going to happen there on the top lane. I mean, of course, they have to defend that tier 1 tower. They want to give space for Coco in that sort of like lane.
One thing that you have to take note about Sunsparks is that they have immense control of the turtle. And it seems like Bren eSports, they have identified this. They don't have the right at all to contest this one. They didn't even bother. With the Lolita and the Harriet together, with the Kaja as well, that's just, turtle all the way.
Yep, indeed. And of course, you gotta mention that Lolita's level 4 and Harris is at level 5, so it's really a risky spot for Bren eSports to engage. And you have to commend Sunsparks that they're constantly hunting into Bren eSports in the top and at the bot lane.
Oh, look at this. Hayes actually connects with the Way of the Dragon. Today will go for the first blood. Lolita is down for the count, pushing on to the third this time. But I think Nomad.
Yeah, this is going to be a big fight here. EJ goes for the Guardian Barrier, not going to be able to catch Fuzak and kill BJ. And the rest of Sunsparks might be able to back off. Yuji's going to go.
Oh, Fuzak and the flicker.
Just flickers out right in the nick of time. But here's what I want to talk about here real quick. Sunsparks, I like what they're doing. They're trying to get control of the map. They're dwindling down the HPs of the top lane turret and the bottom lane turret, and it's going to completely open up the jungles for Sunsparks. But while that's happening,
Oh, another Way of the Dragon makeup. That's going to be a flash. You see the flicker, but to no avail. Will get the kill. By the way, that was penalty zone that did not hit the Thams, but did hit the minions, which I think is a very smart play from Renzo. He just wants to defend. He doesn't want to get a kill.
Yep, indeed. Of course, those penalty zones on those minions is actually like one of the fastest ways for you to, climb up in terms of like farming, and it's actually a pretty, how do I describe it? Like, it's a pretty underappreciated activity to do.
Yeah, sometimes you want to commit your ultimates. Like for example, the Blazing Duet onto getting the kills, right? But sometimes there's a lot of value that you get out of using your ultimates just to clear out a minion wave. Especially if you are securing your own turrets, you can go for the ultimate play onto minions and still have a good time with it.
yeah, because the way you play Mobile Legends is that you apply a lot of pressure towards the side of your enemies, and if you can alleviate the pressure on your end with the Blazing Duets or any AoE skills for that matter, that's going to significantly let you gain control of the game once again. But speaking of gaining control of the game, Bren eSports, they do not have control of the map already. Two tier 1 turrets are down, and the tier 2 turret on the top lane is is going to go down. Once
Yeah.
again, Sunsparks will have control over at the top jungle of Bren eSports.
This is why even when Bren eSports are getting 2 kills, they still are losing in terms of gold. Now the turtle fight in here. I think that there is going to be a good wave. They're going to enter, and they will connect with a kill. That's a catch down for the gun. KLVJ is very low. Does have the Zaman Force. Will use it. Tokimo will fall. KLVJ is still alive with the shield. The Lumino Blast. It connects. Now Yuji is in trouble. KLVJ gets the dribble. Now Hayes will have to run away from the angry Harriet. And it's not yet done. KLVJ with the help of the last one. That's a maniac for the Harriet. And a complete wipeout 5 minutes in.
You cannot overextend if you're Bren eSports given this lineup by Sunsparks. One, you got the Harris with that emblem. If you're tanky, you can easily get melted down. And two, you got Raflacia with that counterplay, and that's actually shutting down. As you can see, EJ gets slaughtered there by Raflacia.
I'm just going to go back to what you said earlier on when we were still talking about the teams. Sunsparks, they have synchronization. They know when to come in the team fights. And we saw that earlier on. We saw the penalty zone being committed. As soon as the penalty zone was committed, we saw the Zaman Force being laid down by KLVJ. Afterwards, we got Raflacia going in for the Numenon Blast, which just really sealed the coffin in Bren eSports during that team fight.
Oh, look at this.
Oh,
Now Sunsparks is definitely in control. I want to ask Wonder Drift. Why do you think that Bren eSports won that fight?
One, it's a desperate situation because obviously the turtle is actually a very important objective. They're losing a lot of towers. Look at this, though. Numinum Blast. They're already popped into one target. As Doc Rebo's going to get caught. That's going to be a big target. As KLVJ says, no, Doc, you're not going to go for the hospital. Now, EJ going to get assaulted by 3 members of Sunsparks. Hayes, on the other hand, trying to run to the northern flank. But Vazakin, he's going to go after him. But the Ring of Order says, judgment has been declared onto you. You go down as UG. Can he actually run away? He tries to, oh no. KLVJ says, I've actually read where you're going, boy. Might as well go down.
At this rate, KLVJ is just way too big. And there's little to no way that Bren eSports can defend this one, especially because Sunsparks are controlling the map.
If you're going to ask me about the win conditions, the only win conditions they have here is that Doc Rebo goes online and that they don't give away kills towards the side of Sunsparks. They need to make sure that they defend this push, this pressure from Sunsparks for at least 15 minutes. But while that's happening, they shouldn't be giving away any easy kills, but they're going to try to go for the kills here on to KLVJ. KLVJ is finally going to go down. Renzio is in the back line, is going to go, actually went for the penalty zone, secures a kill once again, and JP will be taking down Toms. This is just Sunsparks methodically counter-initiating Bren eSports there.
And even after the kill on the Heart, they still lost the fight because they have committed so much on the kill. They did get a lot of gold out of it. But in terms of the overall value that you get out of that fight, it's still Sunsparks winning. So even after getting the trades, Sunsparks still, they get the better end of the deal.
Yep, indeed. And for now, Bren eSports, like, another win condition I can think of is they're going to rely on Yuji. Like, he has to surprise Sunsparks with, like, a single yin-yang overturn. I mean, he's got that emblem that could, like, slow down Raflacia, and that's also another factor. Like, you want to get Raflacia first, because so far he's showing that he's making an impact in the fights. Like, Hayes is going to, pick up the slack just to make sure that Raflacia is going to go down as Divine Judgment has been set onto Yuji, goes for the Ronaldo step over away, but then you go, that's a nice crowd control special there on the side of Bren eSports. Can they actually do something after it? Now Renzio going to get caught. Can he actually survive through this? He's trying to, okay, look at this, Numinum Blast popped out there. Sunsparks, however, with the counter-attacking play. Hayes is going to get slowed down. KLVJ says, I've got the confidence to move forward, and you shall not beat me, and I can still run away like a thief.
I gotta commend Hayes there. That was a beautiful set for the Jeet Kune Do to knock 3 people up, and then Bren eSports, at least they had a bit of backups there going into that brush. But it's just that, again, Sunsparks, they have a lot of utility. They have a lot of utility skills that they can use to counteract Bren eSports. We saw the Divine Judgment being committed. We saw the penalty zone and the Numinum Blast once again. That's going to completely shut down whatever rotation Bren eSports has.
Now, this is also scary. You have to take note that KLVJ did not go for the mystery shop. Instead, he went for the Impure Rage. And that seems to me is a big problem for Bren eSports. Why? Because now, the meta is for the mages to go for the mystery shop so that they can snowball faster. The problem with that is if come the late game, that mystery shop is not useful anymore. This time, Impure Rage. Even when this game goes late, this Harriet is gonna be a big problem. And already, KLVJ has 3 items. at 9 minutes. With the concentrated energy, Feather of Heaven, and the Calamity Leapers. I think one of them for Yuji this time.
That's going to be the penalty zone committed on the Yuji, and Rezio is going to be able to secure the kill on the Yuji. The Zama Force once again is going to be committed to the middle blast, going to get charged up. It's actually going to catch. I believe that's 2 people being caught out, and Hayes is going to be in the backline being chased out by JP, and this is not looking good for Bren eSports at all. It's going to be hard to come back in this game.
This is more than hard, I would say.
Yep.
I can't think of a way for Sunsparks to actually still win this. For Bren eSports to win this, specifically because they don't have the Kagura anymore. I think that they lose at least an inhibitor turret this time. And because of the damage output of this Chrono Dashing LVJ, I've not even finished my sentence and the Glock is already down.
I mean, yeah, that's a sign of desperation already for the side of Bren eSports, and yeah, you really have to commend Sunsparks for really shutting them down early in the game. Like, their movement here on this Kaja has been really phenomenal for Sunsparks. It's like an important factor, and add the fact that we're able to get the objectives very early, it just really spells a nightmare for Bren.
Is this the lack of respect for Bren eSports? Actually not ban out the Harriet, or is it something else? The Window Blast is gonna be gas, it's gonna be a kill onto the taps. Doesn't matter. Oh, the next penalty zone catches 2. That's gonna be the Kagura down for God as well. Hayes will not be able to survive. Well, that's the Glock I mean. It's Sunsparks. You guys were right. They will take game number 1.
That's a game number 1 victory from Sunsparks, and I feel like that was a well-drafted, well-fought for game number 1 because they were able to secure objectives. They were able to apply a lot of pressure on the side of Bren eSports that Bren eSports wasn't able to contain.
Wondered if real quickly, what do you think of that game?
It was actually a very clinical approach by Sunsparks. Like, from the start, you know that they had a legitimate plan. The fact that they forced Bren to defend the top lane, which didn't really work out well. Like, they're able to, you know, dish out the top tower immediately, like shutting down Bren eSports' potential, like, comeback factor because of the fact that they've got farming space. But yeah, that's the beauty about Sunsparks. They did not give any form of like mercy to Bren eSports. They're just relentless all throughout.
Now let's go and dissect what you just said. You mentioned that this is a draft issue that Bren eSports have actually faced. But I want you to kind of explain further. Why is it that Sunsparks draft was better than Bren eSports?
All right, look at this. Aside from having a lot of AoEs, AoE CCs, this composition, even if they're not a 5-man team, they could counteract Bren eSports in terms of if Bren eSports decides to go for a pickoff onto carry, which is crucial, as well as Harriet, doesn't matter. Terizza's going to be there to assist with Harriet. He was in the off lane earlier on. Carry always has Kaja by his side or Lolita.
Yeah.
Any given time.
And that alone actually spelled the doom for Bren eSports. But now wonder, Griff, is this just an issue of letting the Harriet go, or was it something else? Do you think that the Lolita played a specific role in this? Do you think the Kaja is a good pick, or is there something else that Sunsparks actually showed us?
Actually, yeah, the Lolita pick was actually very crucial. I mean, it actually caught Bren eSports by surprise. Like, every time he pops out that Numinum Blast, he makes sure that Bren eSports does not expect it. Like, he was hiding in one corner as this situation has shown, and then just flickers in, which is something that Bren eSports were not really prepared to counter. And it's surprising because Bren eSports, they love the Lolita so much, and I'm expecting that maybe they could, you know, provide a counterplay for it.
Maybe it's because Bren eSports has a fear of the unknown, because back then during Season 2, Season 3, Season 1 even, Season 2, Season 3, Selena Abyssal Arrow would always catch them off guard because they don't know where it's coming from. Lolita was playing in the brushes, not being able to show where the Numinum Blast is going to be coming from, and that I think is the kryptonite in Bren eSports in game number 1.
That may be true, because we know that Bren eSports, they really want to take command of the game, and every time that you don't know something, even every time that you're surprised, you will listen to them if you're playing like Bren eSports, which makes me beg the question: what should change for Bren eSports? It's just simply the draft? Was it execution? Was it something else? No man.
I feel like the draft. Don't get me wrong, draft of Bren eSports was okay. But I think what has to change there is the way they take control of the game.
Okay.
Because during game number 1, we saw Sunsparks go for the aggressive push onto the tier 1 turret in the top lane, and that allowed Bren eSports to rotate towards the top lane to prevent any early turret takedowns, and then Sunsparks went to the bottom lane, which was applying a lot of pressure, and Bren eSports had to be in a lot of places all at the same time.
How about you, Wonder? What should change for Bren eSports?
I think it's a mixture of both. Like, at some point, the Harris pick was kind of looking a bit, dismal for Bren eSports, because if you look at the lineup of Sunsparks, like, the early game rotation was already there.
Yeah.
Bren eSports, they don't have like that early game approach. Like, they have to rely on the late game because they want to give space for their Granger to get online. So yeah, one factor would be the draft. The playstyle is also another factor, because there are fights when Bren actually wanted to force the fight out of desperation, and that's not a good sign for Bren.
Now we jump into the game number 2. So let's see if there will be changes. I think Bren eSports, they did ban out the Esmeralda last game. Sunsparks this time banning out the export. I think Joe was also very instrumental in the previous games that we saw. This time Bren eSports will ban it out straight out. Sunsparks, what are they looking towards? I think, will they ban out? Oh, they will ban out Harriet this time. But because the first pick is on the side of Bren eSports anyways.
Yeah, surprisingly, Kimmy is going to be the first pick here for Bren eSports. You can never go wrong with a Kimmy, especially if Kimmy was able to get Blade of Despair in fast time. You can never go wrong, especially with turret pushes.
Yeah, I mean, this could be like the alternative option for the Harris play, and Bren eSports could actually deploy it. Like, we've seen Harris push out towers immediately. So right now, it's actually, a dilemma. Like, will you give the Kimmy or would you give the Harith in this sort of matchup? And in this case, we're going to see a Kimmy, but this time Bren is going to be the one playing it.
Yeah, but Sunsparks will secure their comfort picks in the Kufra and the Teresa as well. That they've shown that they can play the Teresa in the off lane. This early pick on the Teresa also tells us that it might not be a support, it may not be an off lane Teresa, but a support Teresa, what we know. But Bren eSports, they're gonna go for what works in the previous meta. This is the Kimmy plus the Grok combination. Equip the Kimmy with the Mage Killer emblem, push down hard against your opponents, and you can easily win the games.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, obviously this Kimmy, and of course the rotations from Grok are gonna be so crucial just to make sure that Kimmy is gonna be protected. And Diggy is also a very smart pick. So you got the mobility around the map when you have like your Grok or your Diggy, but instead they go for Lolita, which is like a very safe option to make sure that their Kimmy is well protected with a Bulwark.
I don't like this at all from Bren eSports, because I think that they are overreacting against Sunsparks. The fact that they got the Lolita means that they don't want this Lolita to be given to Sunsparks themselves, which also reveals their overall lineup. They've already shown their hand. Bren eSports, they want to protect the Kimmy August. They want to make this Kimmy available, and they also ban out the Hayabusa. Bren eSports, literally just showing their cards to Sunsparks. I don't like this.
It's looking, I'm going to take back what I said earlier, that it might be a 2-1 victory from Sunsparks. It might be a 2-0 victory. It's still going to depend on how Sunsparks is going to be playing this, though. I like the Gushin pick. I like how they could easily go for Kimmy and burst Kimmy out of Oblivion. I like how they got Kufra to counteract anybody, well, Kimmy for dashing out, Teresa with a penalty zone, and Grok that can easily dash in towards Kimmy. But they're picking up a Lunox.
Okay, that is something we want to see if it's going to work, because there's only like a few teams that could actually deploy the Lunox effectively, and even the Leomord. Only a few teams nowadays could actually work these two together.
So the idea for the Lunox, I would say, is that you can use the Brilliance to dodge the Lucian combo, I would say. And the Leomord now is their way to clean up the mess, because Sunsparks, they're gonna be very low, and when he does go low, he's still very tanky, right? But against the Oathkeeper passive from the Leomord, that is actually the answer. However, this is looking scary, because like you said, not all teams can pull off the Lunox and the Leomord. Now seeing them both on the same team, that's not really good at all if you look at it.
Yep, without a doubt. I mean, so far, I mean, the Hayabusa ban, everything was a bit responsive for Bren eSports. Hayabusa ban, it was because they know that Renzio could actually go online with his Hayabusa. But Sunsparks, they're a very crafty team. Like, there's always an alternative available, and we're seeing it right now here in this matchup with the Tamus.
And we got Kill VJ back on thumbs.
Yeah.
Just nail in the coffin.
Nail in the coffin. Alright. Before, I already know your predictions. I want to ask Wonder Drift, who do you think is going to win this game number 2?
I'm going with Sunsparks in this one.
Okay.
I feel like they could finish off. I mean, Lunox, I'm a bit questioning it. Like, I will only believe that Bren can play the Lunox if they can show it. But for now, I'm a bit skeptical now.
Yeah.
I mean, they could rely on Leomord for like potential split pushing, but we'll see.
Yeah. You know, sometimes, well, casters, they take back their predictions because they want to side on the opposing team. But you will not go to the opposing team. Instead, you will double down on Sunsparks. Please care to tell us why.
I'm just gonna double down this. I mean, that's KLVJ on his thumbs.
Yeah.
There's nothing else that well, there's a lot of things that we can talk about there, especially considering the fact that there are still a lot of counter initiates that Sunsparks has compared to Bren eSports. And just like what you guys have been saying, Bren eSports has been really reactive to this draft.
Yeah, well, now that we have our game number 2 of this best of 2 series, it's Bren eSports on the blue side this time. UG on this Lunox, EJ on the Dig, it's Coco, the Leomord, Hayes on this Lolita, and Doc Rebo with the Kimi on the Mage Killer.
And on the side of Sunsparks, they are the red team. You got Rafleisha going to be playing as Kufra, Fuzakin as the Grok, JP as Gershon, Renzio as Terizla, and KLVJ as Namus. And so far, it's looking like Sunsparks are actually repeating their early game aggression, just invading the jungle of Bren eSports, and KLVJ doing what he's best with that Namus.
Oh, wow. Now, there's a lot of rotations already for Sunsparks as they want to go for the top lane this time. Level 3 on the JP, they found Hayes. They found that he's weak, and they will take it down. Now, KLVJ, the jumping on against Coco. Coco is going to be forced out of the lane.
Once again, Sunsparks is taking control of the game right in the get-go.
Oh,
we saw that was an off-cam kill on
that was a
Coco.
dive. And now even Reflesh is running up against Lunox this time.
Oh, this is looking bad here for Bren eSports, as you can see. They're trying to go down with Rafleisha.
No way!
My God, they actually made it work. The Madmen.
They're not done, UG. Forced to use the Brilliance this time. Did secure the grab coin, but already burned an ultimate. Now Reflesh is gonna be going for more, and they will take him down. Gets the double as well. This is messy.
This is what I've been talking about. Bren eSports, if they want to get back in this game and force a game number 3, they need to make sure that they control the map. In the early game, we saw KLVJ cut the lane immediately. That allowed Leomord to have a bad time trying to farm up. And then we saw Sunsparks just immediately going for the team fights, forcing out team fights left and right because they understand that Bren eSports lineup is heavily reliant on items.
Yep, indeed. And add the fact that Sunsparks, you know, they can surprise Bren anytime because they got the Gushan as JP's going to get caught down there. Oh, he's still alive!
No way!
Dropped out. Yuji gets slaughtered down. Doc Rebo, can he go for the chase? Of course, JP goes down, but the other members, Luminum Blast is going to miss, and Zakin and Rafleisha are just going to run away from the Hail Mary prayer.
Oh my goodness. Guys, why did I feel like after the third pick, after the first phase picks, Sunsparks already won? Please tell me that I'm wrong.
I'm not going to tell you anything.
Because that's how I felt. Now the penalty zone connects onto EJ this time. The damage is just way too much. Thinking goes down. Fuz again. Far too forward. Can he survive? No, he can't.
Yep, and so far, that's actually a very good initiation play by Sunsparks here. However, they might lose Rafleisha and Renzio unless... Oh, Rafleisha going for the David Beckham play, but he decides to back off in a bit.
Well. But this is still a lot of value that Sunsparks gets out of the map as JP jumps in. Want to go for the dive. Doc Rebo cannot survive.
Look at how he switched targets.
Oh,
like,
look
Oh, Rafleisha is going to be there. Time Journey is going to be forced out by EJ though. So they can force out another team fight.
Definitely. And I don't think that they should be stopping anytime soon. They can still move through because the time journey is not available, like you said. And this is probably a third down.
Should be a turn down. And again, if we're going to go back into the draft, they're going to be relying on Doc Rebo to go online on that KB. Yuji's going to be there as a supplemental damage dealer, so to speak. Just going to be there to wipe everything up as well as Coco. But while that's happening though, Coco's going to be able to dash his way in safety, flicker out, and get the hell out of the team fight over the top lane. They don't want to give away any more kills to Sunsparks.
Secure the path.
I mean, this is the beauty about Sunsparks in this matchup is that they're not giving Doc Rebo the space needed because most teams, they say like, oh, there's a Kimmy, and then they couldn't handle the Kimmy like pushing the towers, but in this case, Sunsparks are showing, you know, just make sure you just come out on top and then make the Kimmy's life miserable by these like surprise jump-ins, and there's no way they're gonna push.
Well, on the other opposite side of the spectrum, Sunsparks will push. Even when the Mage Killer emblem is available on the side of Bren eSports, the fact that they've already shown their hand, like we said, in Sunspark with the better draft, they just can't find the opening. And now, this is gonna be an easy turtle for them. Look at how tanky Renzio is.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if QB's gonna keep shooting him in the face, he's just gonna tank everything up. And I want to commend JP though. He hasn't missed his sword spike.
Oh yeah.
Yet, and that I believe is one of the crucial points in terms of picking off all the squishy heroes here on the side of Bren eSports, because he can easily reposition himself, go for the incandescence, and deal a lot more damage with the Shadow Blade Slaughter.
Yeah, and add the fact that Rafflesia also has a significant impact in this matchup, because when he jumps in, he forces Bren to go for team fights, and Sunsparks, they love to play that situation.
Oh man, we have been talking for quite a while this time, but 5 minutes in, there's already 6,000 in terms of gold in favor of Sunsparks. That is actually scary. We haven't been looking at the economy, but it's heavily skewed towards Sunsparks.
Aside from that, all the turret pushes have been in favor of Sunsparks.
Oh,
Bren
man.
eSports have not touched a single turret, well, the bottom lane, but that's just a minions touching it.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I think that
Oh my God.
Sunsparks really got the better of Bren eSports. Not only with in terms of the gameplay, but already in just the draft.
Not this again. Rafflesia going for the Steph Curry play again. This time onto Yuji, and he could actually go for more as EJ's gonna get caught. But JP with oh my goodness, look at the slaughter play there. Numinum blast onto 3. This could be Bren on the counter attack, but do they have the damage? Doc Rebo with the kill onto Renzio, and they did get Renzio out, so at least they salvaged something if you're Bren eSports, but you lose 2 if you're Bren.
Lose 2. Now they want to go for the Barbell play in here, but Coco might have better more than he could do. Instantly taken out. What a mistake from Coco to go that way, and now Rafflesia jumping in, catches 2, the turns the bench collects as well. That is another bonus kill for Sunsparks.
And now this is gonna be...
again. Oh, well, oh no, this is a bait play. Oh, this is disgusting to look at, man.
Look at the scoreboard. 3-13.
That's
Oh,
easily.
stop, they're already dead. No, stop please, Sunsparks.
We shouldn't be showing murder on stream. That's a bad thing to show, but it is what it is. Sunsparks really having almost a 10,000 gold lead over Bren eSports, has complete control over the map. Look at Rizla just going in for the turtle on his own.
This is the playground already. This isn't mobile. This isn't a professional play.
Are we
with the way Sunsparks is showing right now.
Are we watching a pub?
I don't know, man.
I mean,
You know, I have the luxury of asking you guys of what Bren eSports can still do, because I don't know the answer. Well, this is a bonus kill for sure. But
Yeah.
what can Bren eSports still do to actually defeat Sunsparks this time?
That's actually a good question. You know, I can't seem to answer it.
Look
Like,
at this.
hope for an earthquake to drop on their heads. That's
Oh my goodness.
Well, if we're gonna talk about the game here real quick, they need Doc Rebo to go online, and
Okay.
the fact that they have to make sure they don't. I'm not gonna stress this. I'm not stressing this enough. They don't need to give away kills to Sunsparks. Just defend as much as they can. Try to secure objectives. If they can pick off Gushin, and if they can pick off, kill VJ for that matter, they should have a good time, because that's one of the 2 damage dealers on the side of Sunsparks going down. This might be Rafflesia going down the penalty zone. That's actually gonna connect onto Hazen Fuzekin. That's gonna be Fuzekin coming out of nowhere. Hey-oh! Goodbye.
Oh my god.
They are baiting out the members of Bren eSports. They still want
Look at Fuzekin. He was like,
hit me!
Come
I
on!
dare you, hit me!
Say hello to my little friend, and that's
Oh
what
my
they're doing.
And all this time, JP is pushing down bot. He's already knocking onto the inhibitor turret this time, forcing out Barbell once more. And they know that they can just back out. They're literally toying with Bren eSports. I cannot sugarcoat it. This is such a one-set game for Sunsparks.
Oh!
Start connects.
Luminum Blast.
Luminum Blast, it's not enough. They will actually be able to connect with it. They will take out the Grok. JP is quite low, but the penalty zone is there. JP is safe, and he gets a triple instead. This is Sunsparks' game, and they will finish it off.
it's over, gentlemen.
This is a massacre, ladies and gentlemen.
It is done. End of story. Consumatum est for Sunsparks.
Man.
I mean, if you guys could look at the faces of Bren eSports, it looks like they had a good time, and on the flip side, Sunsparks, they kind of look serious now.
They're laughing at their own demise as well. They can't believe it.
This is SPG.
Yeah, there are a lot. There
This
are
is
things
PG-13, man.
we don't want.
Rated R, I would say.
Rated R, yeah. There are a lot of things that we can show on stream. This is one of. This has been a massacre.
I haven't seen a game so one-sided that it started in the draft. That you know, from even negative minute, which was the draft, that somebody has already won.
I can't imagine Bren
man.
being this bad. I mean, they've done some constant improvement so far as the season progressed,
Yeah.
but for them to fall to this, like, Hail Mary plays by Sunsparks is, yeah, just going to go back in the drawing board without a doubt.
Oh man.
Consider this though. The only damage dealer that Sunsparks has is Gushin. Everybody else is just sustained damage. But JP has the Gushin that can just burst everybody out.
You know, there were times when they actually paid it out. Like, Fusaken is doing this. He's gonna do it again the next time. They actually forced out Bren eSports out of their base to be killed by other members of Sunsparks. Literally, they're baiting and toying with Bren eSports. I'm sorry if I'm saying so many bad things about Bren eSports, but it's just what it is. Even if you try to sugarcoat it, it won't look like that. I mean,
I can't blame you, man. I mean, there's nothing really good to say about Bren eSports in this matchup.
Yeah.
I mean, they tried to do the late gameplay, like relying a lot on Doc Rebo on the damage, but if your lanes are shut down for a gimme, there's nothing else you can do in this matchup.
wow. Oh man, we're out of words. How about you, Noma? Do you still have something to say now?
That was a one-sided match. That was, I'm just gonna say what we've been saying. On top of that, that was a completely uncharacteristic game for Bren eSports.
That's also true.
Game number 1, sure, it was still a good Bren eSports game, but game number 2, it's like they weren't playing at all.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it was Sunsparks playing Mobile Legends and Bren eSports, I don't know, playing something else.
It's like Mythical Glory going up against Warriors.
Oh yeah. We hate to say it, guys, but you know, you felt it that way. Just the draft says a lot. Sunsparks, I mean, Bren eSports, they've already revealed their hand. Some people, some teams, they draft the Kimmy, but do not give away their hand. They overreacted from game number 1's loss, and Sunsparks read it like a book. There was really no win condition from Bren. Well, there is a win condition from Bren eSports, but not as much as Sunsparks, for sure. Anything else I want to say is closing thoughts, guys.
I mean, you can't do this, if you're Bren eSports against Sunsparks, because one thing you have to know about Sunsparks, they love to play the mind games.
Oh yeah.
I mean, here's the thing. Sunsparks is known to play mind games when the game begins.
Yeah.
But when it happens on the draft, then this is something that's very new for Sunsparks.
How about you, Nomad?
If you're going up against Sunsparks, make sure you control the game away from them. Don't make them don't make them control you. That's basically it.
That's basically it. Well, Sunsparks, congratulations for another commanding victory this time again against Bren eSports. We still have one series to go, so do not go away. We will be back for more MPL action. See you guys.
The dance of the swans is so graceful and charming. Swan! Double kill! Triple kill! Swan! Legendary! Double kill! Triple kill! Fantastic! Swan! Godlike! Double kill! Legendary! Triple kill!
Download for free Mobile Legends Bang Bang. Experience the youth suffering. Look inside.
Legendary! 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 Double kill! Triple kill!
Download for free Mobile Legends Bang Bang.
Another.
Mobile Legends Bang Bang.
The dance of the swans is so graceful and charming. Swan! Double kill! Triple kill! Swan! Legendary! Double kill! Triple kill! Swan! Godlike! Double kill! Legendary! Triple kill!
Download for free Mobile Legends Bang Bang. Experience the use. Look inside.
Legendary! 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 Double kill! Triple kill!
Download for free Mobile Legends Bang Bang.
Killing spree! Godlike! Double kill! Triple kill! Shut down! The southern seas are my domain. Stop. First blood, double kill. Legendary. Killing spree. Listen to my graceful song. Legendary. Double kill. Triple kill. Maniac.
Download for free Mobile Legends Bang Bang.
The dance of the swans is so graceful and charming. Swan! Double kill! Triple kill! Swan! Legendary! Double kill! Triple kill! Swan! Godlike! Double kill! Legendary! Triple kill!
Download for free Mobile Legends Bang Bang. Experience the use. Look inside.
Yeah.
I thought too.
But this is different.
Iya ma'am, bentar.
Nomad bring you the action for the industries on that season. Hey, might not have much of a voice, but we will deliver the hype.
Yeah.
Now, because this is totally different on the season. Because this actually is a series that will define who can still stay in the playoffs.
Yep.
ONIC, I dare say, even EVOS PH, they're quite in the danger zone.
Yeah, that's from top 6, right? From 6th spot. It's very weird for us. For the previous seasons, we'd say, these guys can just do whatever they want.
Yeah.
But this time around, it's a different story. Every game impacts them really big, even on top 6.
Well, it's just a matter of who wants it more, who wants to go to the playoffs more, because right now, EVOS PH, yeah, they made an appearance in Season 3's playoffs, Ownage as well, but who wants it more?
I guess that for Ownage, they have to want it. Because
Is that 10? I believe it's 10. Yeah, 10th slot. That's right. That kind of goes into what we were talking about. Like, all right, you're going to have more games to play. Hey, good job. Good for us. But you also have to take into consideration, oh my God, who are you facing off against those games?
Yeah.
More comfortable, at least.
there's no chance for Ownage to actually go.
Yeah.
Ownage, they can reach that also might happen because Ownage they lose this one. This means that when they do become tiebreakers, it's Ownage that can if Ownage does win this.
Yeah.
Then they're going to happen.
Yeah, and this is a potential like last week matchup that we'll have a possible tiebreaker.
And we haven't seen a tiebreaker in a while, and I'm going to be looking forward to a tiebreaker happening. But going back into, Ownage and EVOS PH going up against each other, I feel like if Ownage PH can just put their everything together right now.
Okay, let's actually stop with that finish. You don't know what is shape.
Yeah.
What will make you think that a team wants it more? What is your criteria of judging the team? That you can say, honestly say that this team wants this.
Yeah. For me, I'm a guy of numbers, right? All the numbers are going to speak for themselves. Whether or not you're actually coming out on top of other teams is whether or not you're getting the 2 zeros over these teams. And it's nice to think about Ownage, It's nice to see them rise from the ashes, as they say, but I gotta say, it's very difficult to change overnight. It's very unlikely they have the ability, but it's like a 10 to 90 chance for me.
But what is your criteria for knowing which team wants it?
If they're going into the draft confident with their picks and not reacting to their opponents, that may be the winning condition there. That's going to be a sign that they really wanted more because they're confident about their picks. They're confident about their play style. If they react to the picks, just like what we saw earlier on between Bren eSports and Sunsparks, if they reacted to their opponents, it seems like they're not confident within themselves.
So you're saying that even if they have confidence, then how do we know that they are confident with the draft? Well, it's easy. It's not easy to say, but I think that for us, the way we judge it is if they do the power picks themselves. Like for example,
Right.
they pick up the Cernes first, or maybe something like that, and hire it first, and not afraid of what the opponents might do.
Yeah.
Not do it like what Bren did.
Not pick a Kimmy and then not play it properly.
Exactly.
Sorry, guys. That's really funny. As an example.
We can see it. Now, is there a little bit of change or because I think that there's
There is, absolutely. EVOS, they really like to play around their carries, especially Haji. And the draft also revolves around them. Ownage kind of plays in a more scrappy way. Therefore, it gives more unpredictability to how they actually get their win conditions. And it really varies from game to game. That's what what I noticed from these guys is that they don't always win with the same win conditions. they like to play scrappy team fights and then they come out on top just because of the chaos. But again, as records do say, do show rather, they're not in the. It's not working out well.
I don't know, man. It feels like I'm gonna have to agree with Rockhard in the part of Ownage that their win conditions have been very chaotic, they're very sporadic, that you don't know what they're picking, but then they still manage to make it work. I feel like in this do or die type of matchup, that may just be the win condition for Ownage VH. That may be the win condition that they have to overcome EVOS PH and show that they wanted more.
Yep. That's right. Yeah. I completely agree. I actually completely agree. When we talk about what I said about earlier, like when they're playing around Haji, they have specific heroes that are tied to their names. Like if you think about Doofenshmirtz, who do you think about? Kagura, you think about the Gushin. Very easy to know those. Around Haji, he kind of has a more flexibility, but still revolves around heroes like the Hayabusa. A lot of heroes that can scale well even by themselves. So if Ownage can start if they did their homework and they really can capitalize on that, that's their win. Maybe on the draft, but then again, you know what? They still play a lot more confidently compared to Ownage. Honda on the Kufra, that's very easily taken up by BMO, right? So either way, I feel like the draft is going to be real big.
I'm actually wondering that myself for the longest time. They have a good lineup. They play well, but it's just that they've been overpowered by a lot of other teams. Is it because CKTD hasn't been showing up lately? Is it because there's maybe behind the scenes things happening between Ownage? I don't know, but it feels like something's bothering them. Maybe it's the pressure going into the game.
For me, I feel like they're just such a young team. I mean, as much as I really like their individual prowess when I've seen them in multiple teams from the previous seasons, they're meshing together like this. I mean, Season 3 was a lot better for these guys. The Season 3 roster was a lot better. But this one, the newer players, I don't think they mesh well. I think they're lacking that veteran status that we've seen from other teams. Or other teams, they pick up a lot of new blood, like Teng. A lot of new blood, then add on a lot of the veteran experience. I think that's something that's not really present for Ownage at all.
I feel like, yeah, I'm gonna agree with you there because we've seen that with Chaknu. He vibes well with Zapnu and Pakbet.
He's new.
He's new, and he made it work because the entire team has been revolving around that one new guy giving more to the team. That's something that Ownage has to, they have to fill out a lot of shoes because this is technically a big roster shuffle for Ownage, and this is their honeymoon phase, so to speak. They're still working the kinks.
However, that is not a good sign at all.
Yeah, it isn't.
A very important part of
Yeah.
and unfortunately, the bigger guys win. And I think that was one result. But they did really get signal.
They did. Surprisingly, I have to say, I was in that match. I was surprised. So.
Was it just because they signal also played badly, or they have something that's good in there?
It feels bad to say, but yes, Signal Ultra was just playing so horribly in the previous weeks. I feel like it was 2 weeks ago. So from there, it was very easy to take a win from them. But that's a different Signal Ultra that we've seen last week, or I think yesterday, where they really just dominated. And it was not the dominating 2-0s that we've seen them do, but it's a step in the right direction, at least for that team. But for Ownage, they're not really.
We've already talked about how they are very good on their own individuals because they are at the top. Even if you look at the local rankings of specific players, they are at the top.
Yes.
There's
can't have an all-star team and just yeah. To be honest, no. I feel like they have been working well since season 2, right? We've already had these guys in season 2, a lot of them. But the thing is, I feel like the addition of Doofin just really, it was a big hit on season 3. No, it was making headlines. Whoa, Doofenshmirtz, Cushion God, goes and joins EVOS. I feel like he just needs more work. I feel like even though he's a star player, he's still so 50-50. He is not consistent. There is some moments where he is a god. There are moments where he looks like an ant. So,
yeah, I agree that EVOS PH is just individually skilled, but they've been playing for the longest time together, but they still haven't found their synergy yet, which is hard to say. I mean, it's not something believable to say because they've been playing for a long time. Why haven't they got their synergy intact yet?
I mean, there's a level of synergy, but it's not as high as, let's say, Sunsparks right now. Oh my gosh, those guys. Earlier, I wasn't gonna believe it when I heard the 2-0, but man, did I see it for my own eyes. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. Yeah, a big difference from the last season, obviously, because of the rework on the Power of Nature. I feel like it's weird to say a fighter is the best tank, but it is weird to say. But at the same time, when you do it in the rank, it is different. But when you do it as a team here, where everyone is of equal importance and equal threat levels, most of the time, he does fulfill that role. He doesn't die right away, which is a hallmark of a good tank. At the same time, he also doesn't, he just rotates really quick. He clears the waves really quick. What pro players really want in a hero.
I mean, you can say the offense is the best defense here for Teresa being considered as one of the top tanks for Honda. Because, yeah, you consider the fact that you can clear the waves quite easily compared to the other tanks like Kufra. Sure, the bouncing ball is going to be able to clear the wave easily. And who else could also do that? Minotaur's pouncing in is not going to be clearing the wave quite easily. Franco can't even clear the wave fast without the help of other people, without other heroes. And I feel like a Teresa being chosen as a top tank, if you can play well, just like what you said, might just work.
Yep.
And I would say that Teresa clears the wave fast.
So much faster. Oh my gosh. And then there's a cooldown.
There's a cooldown, right?
Yeah. A long cooldown, 4 seconds, 5 seconds.
And when there's a pattern, you will take ages to actually.
Yeah, you're gonna have to hit it.
But with Teresa, literally once, well, 3 times in one skill, which is the second skill.
And then has a cooldown of like 2 seconds or 3 seconds. Really quick. You don't even need the cooldown anymore. You can, while it's cooling down, you can move to the lane.
Yeah, exactly. So, which, makes it very, very important controlling the map.
Yeah, and that's probably why Honda says that as well, right? Because again, pro players really value mobility, wave clear, and of course, I think third is the tankiness.
For Honda, yeah.
The thing is, penalty zone is such a hard output, and at some points it's much better than the zone here.
Because of the damage output, right? Yeah.
The way that you move back and forth. But now, let's actually talk about the 7 years in here, or maybe the first year. It's the Cooper. What do you say about the Cooper so far? And it seems like it's not the best in terms of its win rate, but it's actually still
It's basically like a core tank at this point.
Yeah. Because as a Kufra main myself,
There you
as a
go.
Kufra
There
main
you
myself,
go. Flexing,
yeah,
yo.
Yeah, sure. You can you can't have the best in everything. Like you can have the hardest CCs, you can have a lot of crowd controls. What you have is far more utilities going into the team fights. You can have the bouncing ball to counteract flickers, to counteract any dashes any heroes have. You got the first skill that can hit anybody at any moment, just knock everybody off if everybody's all bunched up together. And the Tyrant's Mage, even if you don't connect to the wall, if you're gonna try to just
Displace
everybody or put them closer to teammates, put them away from teammates, you can do so.
Yeah, I agree. But, well, we did see a ban at the Go Press. We headed to the draft of game number 1 of this best of 3 series, EVOS PH. We'll have the first pick this time. Do you think that they will ban out something like a Harith?
Yeah, I'm actually expecting a Harith ban. I'm also expecting a lot of Kufra bans. X-Borg is kind of... I feel like EVOS wants this. When Killer gets that X-Borg, he really shines. Especially right now, they're on first pick rotation. X-Borg is going to be priority here for EVOS.
Well, now that we are seeing EVOS PH thinking about this room, do you think that something like a Terizla will be available? There you go. So here's the thing, right? Some teams, even when it's not the best tank in the meta, they will ban it out just because of outright respect against their opponents.
Yeah.
Signal Ultra, they lost against Ownage because they did not respect Lard's Grok. EVOS PH says, no matter what happens, we're not gonna give it to you.
For sure. I mean, not to mention Mastery.
Mastery.
Right? We've been talking about Mastery so often this day because everyone just, we notice that when they pick up their comfort heroes a lot, they just win out. Even if they're in unfavorable 2v1s, 3v1 situations, they can somehow come out on top because they just know how well that hero picks instead of just getting a hero that's good in practice, good in paper, but you don't really know the ins and outs of it.
And I'm looking forward to this export being picked up by Ownage, though. Stealing it away from EVOS PH.
Nice steal there again.
Yeah. Here's the thing, right? EVOS PH immediately picks up the Kimi. Understandably so, because it's their most successful hero in their
win rate.
Their win rate in terms of compared to their pick rate as well.
But giving it away for a Harith?
That's actually the question I have in mind, because not only do they give out the export, they also give out the Harith. Export I'm not that scared of, but the Harith is gonna be a big problem because Harith can easily fend off the push.
Yeah,
which
I'm guessing
will come from the killing.
I'm guessing this is a tank export, right? This is for sure a tank export at this point.
To be
and having the Terizla as a counter is pretty good, but it's not what you want. So I think I'm expecting a Gushin here, unless Doofen just really wants to lock in the Kimi. At the same time, though, more survivability. I feel like EVOS is going to start building up tank non-stop here. Although there is always going to be a threat of a Lolita for Ownage.
There is the paired together with the Rafaela.
It's solid.
It's very solid if you think about the sustain of the Terizla for sure. I'm just thinking that EVOS PH might go for another tank in here. I think that this Terizla is almost gonna be an off lane.
Yeah, for sure.
Because the Terizla plus Rafaela tank combination and support, it's quite squishy for my own taste.
Not to mention, there's also, although the other side of the coin, Kimi plus Rafaela, that's a duo that's gonna roam around the map non-stop. We've seen it in ranked games, classic games. We've seen it in pro play, where these two, they just take out objectives real quick. They rotate really quickly on the move speed as well.
Yeah. How about a Minotaur ban, Nomad? Do you think a Minotaur would have been picked by Ownage?
It looks like it, because let's just consider this. Minotaur with a Minoa Fury going in with a Zombie. And then the Falling Star.
Lagi ko pakai, lagi bikin lamaran.
Even just to pull everybody.
Lagi bikin lamaran.
They're trying to eliminate all the synergies that Ownage could go for in this game.
I want to ask this though, because the Harith and Esmeralda was picked once again. Only one will go to the mid lane. And I feel like Esmeralda in the side lanes, that's a big weakness here for the Ownage.
It is.
I've played this a lot. Esmeralda against Terizla will win.
For sure. Because again, the power of Esmeralda is just because she has so much AoE. That really quick cooldown on Stardust Dance just makes it so easy for this guy to take a buff. Take the mid lane, right? Clear the mid lane, then rotate right away. Putting it on the side lane and just putting the Harith there, it slows down your tempo, and that's not something you want for Ownage.
Oh, definitely. And the way this works, by the way, is that Esmeralda can pierce through shields, right? That's the passive of Esmeralda. That's the way it works. But it does not work against damage reduction. It's not like it's through damage, like the carry, right? So Esmeralda always loses against Terizla because Terizla is just way too much damage. However, this leaves a bad taste in my mouth. It's Hayabusa and Martis picked together. no tag at all for EVOS PH. Do we like this record?
No, I actually...
You lost your headset because of that pick.
I actually really didn't, because again, after the Terizzo pick, I was saying this is gonna be, they're gonna start picking up tanks here afterwards. And then they went the other way around it.